everyone, just checking in for another video. Welcome, and thanks so much for all of you that have been watching and sending me messages and commenting on my videos. It's really appreciated. Sorry, itch. Yeah, it's really appreciated. I have no idea really how well this is going to go, the whole YouTube thing, and it's just nice to be getting views and having people say that they're joining along with me and that kind of thing. So yeah, really good, and thank you, it's really appreciated. Please do subscribe if you haven't already. It just helps me and my content be seen by more people, and it's just an easy way for you to support the channel, really. It's just a click of a button, so that would be really appreciated. So today I just wanted to talk to you about one of the other things that I am kind of including in my sorting my life out project, as it were, and that is my career change. And I suppose in a way that's kind of what's triggered the whole concept of sorting my life out and wanting to get things back on track, because in the last few years I've been finding my original job, which I'll talk to you about a bit more in a moment, very difficult. I haven't had a lot of motivation for much else, and I guess probably without realising it, it's been having quite a big impact on my mood and my mental health. So actually having some light at the end of the tunnel that I might be able to move away from it but also make money doing other things has lifted my mood, and it's maybe given me a bit more motivation to do other things that will improve our lives, improve my efficiency at my new job, and generally just be more fun. So the career change is quite a big thing, and I will do at some point a more structured video about the kind of stuff that I have done in the process of trying to work out what career I want to move into or what work I want to move into. It's not necessarily a whole new career in that sense, but basically I went through a lot of different options and went through a lot of different resources trying to figure out what it was that would make me enjoy work, that I'd find value in, of course something that was going to be lucrative in some way, and something that I could do with the qualifications and the experience I already had. So what I would say is that I really found it difficult to find resources, and so I perhaps haven't used things that would classically be thought of as intended for people with intended for people who are looking for a career change. But I found some of the stuff really useful. So I will do a more structured video. I might mention some of that stuff today, but I'll do a more structured video in the next couple of weeks about those resources, so that perhaps if you're thinking about making a change in your work life, that you could try some of those things and find them as useful as I did, hopefully. But I just wanted to kind of do a basic start video on the topic, and kind of, let you know where I'm at, give you some background on what it is that made me need or want to change my career, and also how it's going. So the general background is that I qualified as a lawyer in 2010, and I continue to work as one. I am a freelance solicitor, which is becoming more common now, but it's becoming more common now, but it was very unusual when I started doing it. Although the area of law that I work in means that it's much more common in that particular area, but overall being a freelance solicitor is quite unusual, and the reason for that is because of all the various insurance and regulation memberships you have to have in order to be able to practice law in the UK, and now models are kind of starting to pop up where people are freelancing and getting their cover under the umbrella of a firm, but that firm just doesn't employ them. And I've got a couple of friends recently who in other areas of law have started doing that. So it's become much more flexible, and I guess the pandemic has had an impact on that, because it means people can work from home or wherever they want to and work around their family lives and other things that are going on for them. So Anyway, so I've been doing that for 13 years, and for a lot of reasons that aren't necessarily to do with the area of work itself, it hasn't always been that, well, it has never really been that lucrative for me. I'm not going to say that I didn't earn enough to live. I did. But I was single for a huge proportion of that time, from 2010 till 2018, I think. I was single, and living on my own, so a single income household, running a business. Cash flow was a massive problem, and kind of a third of the way into that time, my mental health became such a problem that I couldn't just increase my caseload and therefore increase my income. So yes, in the more recent past, government change, funding cuts. I do legally aided work, which means that I'm not a lawyer who's charging £300 an hour. Far from it. Like a conveyancer or somebody writing your will or a divorce lawyer or something like that. Our rates are very, very low because they're set by the government. And actually we get paid a fixed fee most of the time rather than doing things by the hour. So quite often you're getting paid a fixed fee that's a lot lower than the number of hours of work you've put in. I'm not going to go into loads of detail of that because it's really boring, and it's not really the point. The overall issue was that income was unreliable. It wasn't a situation where now, because I'm qualified for 10 years plus, I'm not able to earn more than I was before. It doesn't really work like that. Whereas in other private practice situations, your rate would go up quite quickly once you've got 5 years plus experience. I might have been made partner. All of these things that don't happen when you're not employed essentially by a private practice or in-house somewhere. And that was never an issue for me really, in the sense that I didn't have ambitions to be a partner. I didn't have ambitions to be a high flyer or in fact to earn a huge amount of money. I wanted to do a job and do an area of law that was really meaningful to me, and this particular area of law was very much felt like it was the right thing for me at the time. I still believe it was now. I just think that time is coming to an end, and there are lots of emotional reasons for that too, psychological reasons for it, and the government change that I mentioned, the issues with funding in the last few years has made it exceptionally difficult. There have been months where I've literally made a couple of £100, which just is nowhere near enough for us to break even as a household, basically. And so for years, to be honest, there have been times where I've thought, oh, maybe I should be doing something different. Family have often said to me, maybe you should retrain in a different area of law. I never felt that was right or really as easy as that sounds either. And I'd started to properly think about changing jobs or getting a second, maybe even part-time job alongside what I currently do, that could make our income slightly more reliable or steady, would give me some more joy in life, I suppose, and also would be something that I could work alongside a job that really requires that job to be the priority. If you're somebody's solicitor, you have to be able to be there when they're in court, or you have to be able to be there to answer the phone to them. So having a job that was a regular shift pattern wouldn't work for me, because it would mean that there'd be things I'd be missing for my lawyering job that would be a disadvantage to my clients, and ultimately would be a disadvantage to my career. So it wasn't as easy as just getting kind of any job that would pay a bit of money. It was a question of finding something flexible that was sustainable long term, and more recently that meant I could be at home to look after our dogs as well, which is another issue. So I started going kind of down the route of actually looking and applying for new jobs from about Easter time 2021, I would say. No, 2022. I'd started looking, like I'd looked on and off for jobs before that, but never like made a concerted and continual effort. And I think it was about then that I started kind of properly job hunting. And I applied for a lot of jobs. And anyone, probably all of you, who've done full-time job hunting for graduate schemes or anything kind of in the professional or business realm will know that applying for jobs is basically a full-time job in its own right. The application forms are quite lengthy. They can be really involved. Some of them involved assessment centres, that kind of thing, tasks and timed pieces and all that sort of thing. And these were jobs I didn't ever really apply for a job that I thought I might not be able to do. I think self-esteem wasn't great at that point, so I was applying for jobs that I knew I'd be able to do, and thought that I was doing quite a good job of explaining why my skills as a lawyer would transfer to that job well. But cutting a long story short, I may have had a few interviews, but I never got any further than that. I didn't get any of those jobs. I never got offered something that I didn't want or chose not to take. And by the beginning of 2023, I'd really had enough. It was crushing my remaining self-esteem. It was making me think that I was going crazy and that maybe I really couldn't do these things that I thought I was capable of doing. And it was making me angry, really, because I knew that I had a lot of transferable skills. I knew that there was a lot I could do. I just didn't have the necessary qualifications or experience to prove that, if you see what I mean. I'm not maybe explaining that well, but it was really hard, and it was really affecting my mood and my mental health. I was really struggling, and we were struggling financially to make ends meet, and that was making it worse. I was feeling a real responsibility towards my husband, who earns a set salary, so he brings the same amount in every month, and it was increasingly difficult for us. So at the beginning of 2023, I don't remember when it was exactly, but I think it was maybe February time, I took a leaf out of the book of a friend of mine who told me years before that when she left her full-time career job, which she did for personal reasons, she suddenly got this influx of friends and family saying, "Oh, you're free. That's great. I've been wanting to ask you about whether you'd like to be involved in this, this and this for years, but because you were working full-time, I didn't ask you." And so she ended up with lots of opportunities that she didn't realise were there. So what I did was I sent a message to anyone I could think of that I felt comfortable sending it to, basically saying, "Guys, I'm being blunt, I need a job, I need some work, whether it's full-time, part-time, whatever. These are my skills." And I didn't write it out in a nice CV, I didn't, back it up with facts and figures. I just said, this is what I can do, this is what I know I'm good at. Some of that was work-related and some of it wasn't, so I put in things like being able to make reels on Instagram, as an example. And I had a few messages back from friends. It was great. I had some work through one of my sisters, which has only recently ended actually, and that was brilliant. I got some contacts from I think the same sister, and also from friends about people that I could talk to, and it was great. And then suddenly I got a message from, funnily enough, the same friend that I'd taken the leaf out of the book of. No, the same friend who had told me about how she'd had all these offers before, put me in touch with another friend of hers who was looking for someone 1 day a week doing a bit of basically virtual admin and business support. And I met with them a few days later, and I, by the end of the meeting, had a job. And it was, I can't even tell you how wonderful that was. I mean, first of all, I got on with them immediately, had such a lovely chat with them. I think they trusted the friend that had put me in touch with them, so they knew that she would only have recommended me if I was going to be good and trustworthy to do this work remotely, which is what it was, what was being offered. They knew that I had a background in law, I think, and that I'd been working self-employed for a while. And they had the faith to just say, look, let's just do this. We believe that you can do it. And I've been working with them ever since. I'm still doing 1 day a week. And that looks like a lot of different things. But off the back of that, I have now set up in the last 6 months or so a virtual assistant business for myself. And I now have a handful of clients. It's not crazy. I'm still lawyering. So I now have that original job. I have some ad hoc work with a couple of contacts, mostly people that I already knew. I am a personal assistant for a young chap who is neurodiverse, so he gets some access to work funding, so I'm his support worker, but mostly helping him with business stuff. My hand's shaking. I need to... Oh. Sorry, I needed to switch angle because my hand was shaking. So I am personal assistant for this young chap who's neurodiverse and is running a business. I do his admin. I am putting together some systems to make that work better. I'm helping him respond to emails, that kind of thing, meeting with him once a week. So I work with him. And then I've got, in fact, one of the ladies from the original job is now employing me on a personal basis as well. So I think I'm up to about, if I added the hours up, I'm maybe doing 3.5 days a week worth of hours. And that doesn't necessarily translate to 3.5 days Monday to Friday, because I tend to do the work outside of office hours to a degree anyway. And it's just changed everything for me. And it sounds so basic and so silly to say that. Firstly, working with new people who are really appreciative of the work I'm doing, which unfortunately as a lawyer isn't always the case. I am very conscious that the first set of people that I started working for in particular have been really supportive and encouraging and really kind of complimentary about the stuff I do for them, which has really boosted my self-esteem, which we all need. And they are wonderful employers. They're not employing me. I'm still freelancing, but you know what I mean. So I maybe have 5 clients, including the ones that I do ad hoc work for. And there are others in the pipeline that, people that have said, I think I will need to use you when X, Y, Z has happened or whatever. And I can see the light, basically. And I've never been really sure if I wanted to give up lawyering altogether. In a way, I'd like to keep doing it because, one, I spent a lot of time, energy and money qualifying, training and all of that. And in some ways, I'm really invested in the area of work I do. And some of my clients have been with me for a long time and I want to see their cases through. So I don't really want to leave that. However, the other day, funnily enough, I was sitting thinking about how I'd feel if I was able to give it up, pass my cases to somebody that I trusted and not have to deal with it anymore. And honestly, I think I'd be a different person. And, there's a lot behind that statement, which maybe I'll talk about another time. But yeah, I think realistically, if I could give up lawyering this year, it would be a dream come true. And I don't know how realistic that is. It really depends on how reliable these contracts are that I've got with people, whether they continue, whether the number of hours I'm getting continues, and whether I can increase the number of clients I've got, because obviously I can't really continue with only 3.5 days a week. I wish I could, but we need me to be working full time, really. So yes, I think it feels possible now. It feels like I could do it and I will have changed my career. Not necessarily something that I'd sat and planned to do. I definitely looked at virtual assistant before because it's so flexible, and also you get lots of influencers talking about how they've done it and trying to sell you a course about how to do it, which I luckily didn't fall into the trap of. and that's no judgment if you've done those. I'm sure that they can be useful and are useful, but I think there's too much of that on the internet these days. If you want me to help you with some tips on how to become a virtual assistant, message me. I will absolutely tell you for free. So yes, I would never have said that was my calling or my desire to be a virtual assistant, but actually helping people is something that I love. Advocating for people, so working with this neurodiverse guy is brilliant. Being able to help him with things that he can't help himself with, brilliant. And also the creative side of what I've been doing is massive for me. So I do some general social media stuff, I do some writing, I do some video editing, I do some photo editing and some like proofreading type stuff, and I love all of that. And I am a creative at heart, always have been, and obviously there are ways in which you can use that as a lawyer, but it's not the primary focus of what you're doing, and it's much more of like a strategic creativity than anything else. So I think I had underestimated how much doing something creative would make me feel alive, and it really has. So yeah, that's where I am. I guess still really in the very early stages, only the first year of trading and doing VA work, really. Still very much the early stages, but at a point where I finally feel like things are changing and going to improve for the better. Had a call with one of my clients this week, and she's asked me to start doing something with her, which is, when I say dream come true, I genuinely mean that. It's something that I never thought I'd be paid to do, something that I've always wanted to be paid to do, and maybe I'll talk about it a bit more in the coming months. But I'm so excited about it, and I literally was pinching myself when I came off the call thinking, how has this happened? And it's just really exciting. So that's where I'm at, and I think there'll be probably lots more to come out in the wash in the next few months, especially if I do decide to start wrapping up the lawyering and having those conversations with my bosses there, that kind of thing. They're aware that I'm doing other work, so I doubt it would come to a surprise to them if I told them that I was thinking about moving on. And yeah, I'm sure there'll be lots to work out while I do that. But yeah, I guess that's where I'm at the moment, really. And it is forming part of the sorting my life thing out, because I need to work out how this new line of work works for me and what processes I need to be doing it well, and getting used to using new software, that kind of thing that I haven't used before. So there's lots to learn, really. And I am excited about that, but I'm sure there'll be lots to talk to you about too. So yeah, I hope that was interesting and kind of a good summary of where I'm at with the career change. Like I said, I will do a more structured video in the next few weeks about what processes and what thought process I went through in order to make some decisions, or try and make some decisions about making career change. And maybe at some point I'll do a video about becoming a VA, and what kind of stuff I've found useful, and try and be really practical about that, because I think, there are some things that I've muddled through that, I've now learnt my lesson on, and I could hopefully pass some of that on. But like I say, please do message me, or drop a note in the comments, and I'll come back to you, because it's not for everybody, but I'm really enjoying it. And I think depending on what your background is and what skills you have, it could be a really easy transition, or even something to do alongside your current work if you'd like to make some more money. So yes, I'm going to finish up. It's a Sunday, and I think my coffee's probably gone cold because I haven't been drinking it, but I want to go and spend some time with my husband. So I'm going to go. I'm hoping to get this video up later today. I hope I do. If not, it will be Monday, and I will have broken my promise to you already, but never mind. And I'll be back soon with another no-buy update. All right. See you when I see you.